Hello everyone, welcome to probably my most anticipated video I've done so far, the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror collectible minifigure series. I've spent so many hours working on this project, tirelessly drawing figures the past weeks so I could put this video out for you guys on Halloween, but I gotta say, I think the final result is stellar. This honestly might be even better than my third Simpsons series, but I'll leave that to you. If you haven't checked that one out, make sure to take a look by clicking on the card or in the end screen. Enough of jabbering, let's get right into the juicy stuff. Filling the number one spot is none other than Homer and the Raven from the first ever installment of the Halloween episodes. In terms of molds, there's nothing new for the figure itself, since the main highlight of this one is obviously the accessory, the Bartified Raven. Nonetheless, I think Homer's robes would be really useful, I especially like the color scheme. Which Marge was one of the minifigures planned from the very beginning, and like many other characters in this series, her head mold is pretty much the same as the existing one, with just some slight modifications. The most obvious change in this case is the hair, with all those spiky tips. Since she's a witch, her accessory has to be the mandatory broom. I really don't like how LEGO has never applied paint to these pieces, so I think the extra little effort makes a whole lot of difference. Third in the series is HYGO Simpson, actually the first figure I drew all the way back to the beginning of August. He would clearly require a new mold for the head, since he's significantly different from his evil twin Bart. For the accessory, I would have loved to have given him a pigeon rat, but that would require a very intricate mold, not to mention the fact that it's way too grim for LEGO. Instead, I gave him a simple bucket where he would store his fish heads. His legs would be dual molded like Dobby's, with printing on the front, sides and back to represent teared up shorts. Maggie, unlike the previous two figures, would not require a new mold for the head, but instead for her tentacled body. The mold is loosely based on the existing piece she uses, but obviously with the alien tentacles. Her left one has a bar-sized part, much like Nagini from the Harry Potter CMF, and the right has a pole connection, able to grab objects such as the space ray gun, the accessory included with her. It was quite complicated drawing these tentacles, so I had to thank my sister and her creative skills for the help. The next figure is probably my favorite, Devil Flanders. I don't really know why, but I think it just translated so well into LEGO. And the most surprising thing is that it doesn't actually require any new molds apart from the head. He uses the fawn legs, the little devil's tail, and the trident piece. His other accessory is the Forbidden Donut, which he offers to Homer. I'm just overall really happy with the final result. And if I had to choose a minifigure from this series to be officially made by LEGO, it would 100% be this one. In the sixth spot, we have Flanders' deceased wife, MAUDE, in her ghost form. Although she literally only appears like this in the intro of the 13th Treehouse of Horror, I think it's a pretty iconic look. She uses the existing ghost leg attachment, and for the accessory I gave her the skull which they used to evoke her, so no new pieces here. Actually, the head technically isn't a new piece either, since I only slightly altered the one I created for my third series. I also used Moaning Myrtle as reference, and since LEGO's design just uses normal colored pieces and not actually transparent, I went with the same process for this one. Coming up next is the second iteration of Homer in the series, and honestly, a pretty cursed figure. He's quite simple in terms of printing and such, but with a very intricate head mold. I decided to give him his wristwatch, but since that decision only happened midway, it ended up almost not featured, so that's on me. I think this would also be great to get Homer's work clothes without having to get him from the Simpsons house. We're now halfway through the series with Count Burns, our 8th figure. Again, a pretty simple minifigure, so I don't really have much to say here. I decided to go with that book instead of a chalice with blood, since it's realistically what LEGO would do, plus it's comedic relief. I like this episode so much, I even got the Funko Pop version of this character. Furthermore, complementing my love for the 4th Treehouse of Horror episode, we have another vampire, this time Grandpa Simpson. Although he doesn't have that much of an intricate design, I think it turned out pretty nicely. He would use that nuclear stand piece that came with the DC Superhero CMF to simulate his flying ability. The next trio of minifigures all come from the same segment, and the first one is Lisa as Clobber Girl. This is one of the few figures that don't require any new molds whatsoever, but it still looks just right. Since I really couldn't simulate the ripped sleeves, I decided to go with the same plain look for the legs. This way they'd be way more useful. I could have done the same I did with HYGO, but I think it looks better like this. To represent her super strength, I gave her gym weights and a muscled print on the arms. I was surprised to learn that LEGO has actually never made muscled arms, so these, like the legs, would be quite useful. Her sidekick, Stretch Dude, also has to be in the series, again without any new pieces. He uses the Miss Marvel torso, and I gotta thank my friend LegoFanForever on Instagram for posing this figure for me, since it's impossible to find a good pic of this torso online. I believe it would be really interesting to see LEGO using the torso with the elastic arms on a CMF series. Their biggest nemesis is also a must, so here's the collector with his double-bladed, mint condition but not sealed Darth Maul lightsaber from episode 1 The Phantom Menace. It uses the new hilt piece from the Monkey King theme, and I honestly cannot wait to see what other uses LEGO and mock builders have for this piece. The head is only slightly modified from the existing comic book I had, mainly for that mask. I could have easily given him unprinted legs like many other figures from this series, but I think his sneakers really add to his dorky and nerd look. Willie is honestly my least favorite figure in the series. It doesn't look bad or anything, and I really like the Freddy Krueger parody with this character, but it's just so plain looking compared to the others. Now that I think about it, since he would need a new headpiece to go with that hat, I could have given him a more raged expression, especially with the mouth. That would really have contributed to make this figure more interesting. Oh well, it is what it is. On the other hand, this next figure is one I'm quite proud of. The House of Evil Shopkeeper was quite complicated to draw, but I think I managed to capture his look pretty darn well. Still, nothing can top that KRUSTY doll and its psychotic look. It actually uses the baby piece for the body, but a new piece for the head, a slightly modified and shrunken version of the existing KRUSTY head. I also had to give him a cup of frozen yogurt, which he calls Frogurt, but remember, much like all the items in his shop, it's cursed. But hey, it's free and you can choose the topping, and that's good! What's that? The toppings contain potassium benzoate?
That's bad.
Can I go now?
Second to last is Frankenstein, an odd but fitting choice. After all, it's not a Halloween series without a Frankenstein portrayal. He's actually the most intricate figure in the series when it comes to the overall design and color palette, since he uses so many body parts from the citizens of Springfield, like Mr. Burns and Snake's arms, or Sideshow Mel's hair. He comes with a brain as his accessory, like he was desperately searching for in the episode. Finally, we have Mo parodying a Clockwork Orange. The name I gave this figure, Moog, is actually from the Type It Out game. It's a portmanteau of Mo and Droog, the term Alex uses for his gang members in the film. This figure is much more of a nod towards film lovers like myself, but I think it's still recognizable enough for everyone to understand it. Since I wasn't happy at all with the Mo head I made for the previous series, I pretty much completely redesigned this one, and I think it captures Mo's unique expression much better. The old one was just too cartoony for my taste. And well, there you have it, the complete Treehouse of Horror series. Before you jump into the comment section asking for Kang and Kodos, while I understand these are highly desirable characters and obviously associated with the Halloween specials, I just couldn't include them here. Hell, I tried really hard coming up with pieces that could have been used for these two and for Maggie, but it's just virtually impossible to design something that would fit a collectible minifigure standard. Still, make sure to tell me which one of the minifigures I made was your favorite. Another special thanks goes to my friend Bianca, small AFOL on Instagram, for overall helping me so much with the character choices and the creative process. We spent a lot of time discussing what figures to include, and she even watched a bunch of episodes that I did not, since I had to spend my time drawing the figures. So make sure you check out her page, she's a really nice and funny person, and someone who's very pleasant to talk to. While I absolutely loved making this series and had so much fun, it's quite a relief to have this project finished at last. I can guarantee you that I'm done with minifigures for this year. I might start planning the 4th Simpsons series this December and start drawing a figure or two, but only in 2021 will you hear from me again. I mean, I still might make other videos, but as time goes on I get less and less motivation to do news and leaks videos. So while it's likely for this to be my last video in 2020, it's not impossible. Anyway, if you're watching this on the 31st of October, I hope you have a great Halloween, even under the circumstances we are in. Stay safe out there, but most importantly, enjoy life. If you're watching this on any other day, may it be a fantastic one. I'll see you later, everyone. Thank you for watching and for the continuous support. Bye!